Huh? Wait, was he okay? What? Is that guy an idiot? Oh well. Just do object, set that to cover. Just like that. Wow. Kind of crazy. And now for the overlay, right? I'm just gonna do portfolio and do overlay here. Do position set to absolute. That will just completely disappear. I'm just gonna do top 0. I'm gonna do left 0. I'm gonna do right 0. I'm also gonna do bottom set to 0. I'm also gonna do a background, set that to a RGBA, kind of a grayish, like light bluish color. So I'm just gonna do this, I guess, but really light, just like that. And I'll see it'll look like this, right? I'm just gonna do a display flex, align items set to center, and display content set to center, opacity set to 0. Now, here's the deal. What I'm going to do here is do transition, set the opacity to 0.3 seconds and ease. We're basically changing the opacity here. And here, I'm just going to set the hover. So, oops. So when it's hovered, I'm just going to do set the portfolio to opacity to 1. So if I do that, just like that, it will look just like that, right? Pretty cool effect. Now one thing I can do is the text color is black, so I can change that. And do content, set that to text, align center, and do color set to white. That'll look pretty nice. Now to style the content here, what I can do is basically call the content here, do font size, set that to 1.5 rem, also do margin bottom set to 0.5 rem, just like that. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the content portfolio section. Now for the last section, that is contact, and after that we'll do footer, and after that we'll be done with HTML. I'm just gonna do contact section here. I first need to learn functions, but coding is in JS isn't that different that Python. Is mostly just how you write stuff like that in syntax you use. That's pretty true. Yeah, that's true. That's probably like that's like every programming language. Like every language is like all like same concept, but it only has different syntax. Just do contact here and also give an ID of contact. And basically give the same container and do section, title, also do contact me here, just like that. You know? Oops, I can just give it h2. Accidentally give it div. That's weird. Let's contact me, right? Now here, I'm just gonna do the same contact content here. I'm also gonna do contact info and do h3 here, saying let's connect, and just do contact item, and here I'm just gonna use an I, saying FAS, FA envelope here, which will basically be an envelope, and just do span, and just I have a dummy data right over here. Now this is the same thing, right? Now I have different items that I basically made, so I'm just gonna copy paste them. Basically has different class, which is, you know, icon, and different content right here. So I'm just gonna copy paste that, format the document. Now all of these, right? What is it? Later when the teacher went to him, there was water in the apparatus, and he drank that water and started laughing, and the whole class started laughing. So angry, and she got him out of class. I mean, I'm not like, chemistry is not my major, but like from what I did, like experiments in chemistry lab, like teacher would like strictly like first day and orientation, right? So what teacher told us is like no matter what you like touch or what you consume, do not do it until you 100% know that it's that, right? Because yeah, just like our chemistry teacher just strictly told us not to touch anything without any permission, or not to do it, like especially not to drink chemicals. That's kind of crazy, because like I'm pretty sure like even like chemically synthesized water is not safe to eat. No, I mean it probably is, but like I'm just saying. Maybe it's because the basic foundation I got in Python I haven't had in trouble with basic JS. Yeah, that's true, because like majority of it is similar. Like for JavaScript object, you have dictionary in Python. Like for arrays, you have list, right? It's just same thing. Now for form, what I'm gonna do here is just make a form here. I don't need action here, and just do class set to contact form. I'm gonna do input. Oops, what am I doing? Input here, saying probably putting in text, and I don't need anything here, and just set the placeholder to your name. And yeah, I'm just gonna set it to required. Now I need a couple of these, so I'm just gonna do that. Set that to email. Set that to email too. Next that I need is a text area, so I'm just gonna do text area. I'm gonna cut everything here. Put the rows to 5. Oops. And here I'm just gonna do placeholder saying your message. Put that to required too. And that's pretty much it. So next is button. I'm gonna give a button saying send message. And I'm just gonna emit a event of submit. And just like that, it should be done. So that is all for our contact section. The last section that we have to make is the footer section. So I'm just going to do footer here. So before we'll just install this, and after that we'll make our footer, and after that we should be done with our CSS, and we'll move on to JavaScript. So for the contact section, so I'm just going to do contact section, and boom, I'm just going to do contact here. And just set the background to that. So set the color to white. Just like that. He drank chemical water. Now his alkaline with anger. Oh, good one, man. I mean, I was really bad at chemistry when I was in like 11th and 12th grade. Like I hated chemistry. I'm sorry, I just hate chemistry so much. Contact, and just do content here, and do display grid, and do grid template column. Set that to one fraction and one fraction. That will basically separate them just like that. The one thing I need to do is do gap, set that to 4 rem, and also do margin top, set that to 3 rem, just like that, right? What? Okay, so Next thing, I can just do contact info, set that to h3, and do font size, set that to 1.5 rem, and margin bottom, set that to 2 rem. I hate electricity. Like the chapter. Like in what? In physics or chemistry? Display flex. I can line item set to center. Margin bottom set to 1.5 rem. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So for the contact item, we can just do that, right? And for the icon, what I can do here is set that here. What I can do is just style the icon. So you can do one font size, set that to 1.2 rem. And margin right, I can set that to 1 rem. Like that. And also give a color of signature color. And also give a width of 20 pixels. Just like that. Now for the form, right, which is this right here. It looks absolutely horrible, so I'm just gonna do contact form. We have a different subject on electricity. What? Damn. My condolences. Do flex direction, set to column, just like that. And set a gap of 1 rem. And yeah, it looks pretty nice. Now if I can do contact form, I can style the input. I can probably the same thing here. Copy paste that. Change that to text area. Put the padding of 15 pixels. I also give a border of none. Just like that, and also give a border radius of 10 pixels, and also give font size set to 1 rem, and do background set to RGBA, set that to 0.1, just like that. Set the color to white. And also do border set to 2 pixels, solid, transparent, just like that, and do transition, all 0.3 seconds at ease. So that is the thing. Now I can do is change the placeholder. I'm just gonna copy that and we're gonna format the document here, just like that. And I'm just gonna do that and put a placeholder, and I can just copy this, paste that the same here, format the document. Now for the placeholder, I'm just going to change the color to white. That's pretty simple, right? Change that to that, kind of a bright color, just like that. The one thing I can do is to put a focus effect. Now I can do that and give focus, and basically change the, you can set the outline to none, border color, set that to that, and give a background of RGBA. I can give it that color, so it will just change when you click over it. When you click over it, it will slightly be a lighter color because I've increased the alpha value. And yeah, it looks pretty damn nice, right? I still don't get Faraday's law and Lenz's law, to be honest, even after 5 lectures. I don't know what you're talking about. I've definitely heard of it in my chemistry and physics class when I was in 11th, 12th grade. I never gave any attention to it, so I don't know. When do you use active, by the way? You use active to like define a state. So the actual like active that we have used in our code is, where is it? Dot active. So this is basically saying to add active, right? This active class, if I go up there, which is where the mobile dropdown is basically saying to add active like this. That is what's happening, right? Now you control that using the class list property from JavaScript, right? It will basically access the class list. So if I just get the class list, so if I get the DOM here, so do const and do mobile drop, I just do document dot get do, what am I doing? Do document dot query selector and just do dot here, oops, and just do, what am I doing? Just do this, right? And select this and do dot class list. If I do that and do console.log this, go to console, you'll basically see the value. See this? I'm back. So this will basically give us the value. See this? Mobile dropdown is the first item, and second is active. So this will basically be a list of class. At 0th index, it will basically be the mobile dropdown, and active will be that. And then yeah, it'll basically that. So we'll basically add and remove this active. So when you add this active, they'll, like, the mobile dropdown menu will pop up, and when you remove the class list, it will just be removed. So we'll be doing that using the hamburger menu. Now we have to make that thing come up in responsive tab. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you got that. Now to do all of this, next thing I need to do is do contact form. You can just do button here and do padding, set that to 15 pixels also. It'll be relatively big. And set the background to that. Also do color, set that to white. Also do border, set to none. Do border radius 10 pixels. Font size set to 1 rem. Font weight set to 600 and cursor set to pointer, and do transition all 0.3 seconds at ease. And there we go. Now for the hover effect, I'm gonna do that, put hover, do background set to a darker blue, so I'm just gonna do 2980 and B9. Just like that. And also going to do transform, translate that -2 pixels as always. And yeah, pretty cool. Now the last thing that we have to make is the footer. So I'm just going to go down here, start our footer. I'm going to use the footer tag, obviously. I'm just going to do social links, href. And here, inside this, I'm going to use the icon tag. So this will basically be icons of different social media platforms. So the first one will be GitHub. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to use 3 of these. So the first one will be GitHub. Second one will be LinkedIn. Just like that. You see all of these here. The third one will be Twitter. So I'm just going to do that. And install that. There we go. And at last, I'm just going to use I'm going to make a copyright text. I'm just going to use the copy. That'll give us the copyright logo. And here I'm just going to use 2025. And I'm just going to copy a text here that I have. Isabella Harper, all right reserves. So that is the footer section. And yeah, now let's go ahead and style our footer. So that is all for HTML, by the way. HTML is done. Okay. So I'm just gonna put a comment saying footer. I'm also gonna format the document, by the way. And so I'm just gonna call the footer container, set the background to like 18252F, kind of a blackish color, but not totally black. Set the color to white, text line to center, the padding to rem and 0. Just like that. And for the social links, I'm just gonna do social links. Do display flex, justify content center, and do gap 1 rem. Just like that, and do padding, set that to 2 rem. I can do margin bottom set to 1 rem. Just like that. Now to style the actual anchor tags. So this will be kind of long, so I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit. Do display flex, align items set to center, justify content set to center. Right. I'm also gonna do width, increase the width to 20 pixels, and height, increase that to 40 pixels, which is the container. And do background, set to the signature color, just like that. And color, set that to white, just like that. And text decoration, set to none. They'll get rid of the underline. And do transition, all 0.3 seconds at ease. And at last, I'm also going to do border radius, set to 50%, just like that. Now to make a hover effect, I'm just going to do that. Put hover here, change the background to the darkish gray that we have, right? It is dark. Now next, I'm just going to transform to translate at -3 pixels, just like that. There is the effect. It looks pretty nice. Now remember the fade in effect that we put here? We put in hero section, right? The fade in effect. I'm basically gonna make the keyframes for it. So to make that, I'm just gonna use keyframes. Put fade in up there. I'm just gonna do from. So it will be opacity. Initially, it will be opacity 0, and do transform and translate to 50 pixels. So that will be at the initial state. And 2, it will do opacity to 1 and transform, translate at y to basically be 0. So if you go over here, if you reload, that will be our effect. Looks pretty okay. And yeah. Now to make this a responsive, right? Now, as I said, this will be responsive for all given screens. So first, I'm just going to set it responsive to the 768 pixels. When we hit 768 pixels, I'm just going to do nav links. Set to display none. So when we hit 768 pixels, it'll basically disappear. Now to set the mobile menu to be display block, so that will be right there. Now if you click, nothing happens because we haven't set it using JavaScript, right? Our objects in JavaScript used to hold stuff like user info, name, address, message, etc. Yes, it's basically a container that will basically, if you need a data structure that basically stores values in key value pairs, you use JavaScript object. That's pretty much it. It's like dictionary in Python, right? Python stores value in key value pairs. That's why. The reason we need this is because in HTTP protocol, you basically send data in JSON. So JSON stores values in key value pairs. So you need a programming language should need something that can store in key value pairs. So in JavaScript, that is JavaScript object. If you want in Python, that is in Python that is a dictionary, and that's pretty much it. In Python, if you want to make API calls, you can use a request Python library. In that, you basically get the JSON values and convert that to dictionary, and just do whatever you want and send that back in from that. And that's, yeah. Do nav here. So nav will change to position relative, and here I'm just gonna change the hero h1 to font size 32.5 rem, just like that. Next thing I need to do is do about content and do contact content. Grid template column, set that to for fraction, just like that. It looks pretty nice. And also do gap to 2 rem, just like that. Next thing is the portfolio grid and the services grid. I'm basically going to change that to one fraction 2, just like that. Looks pretty nice. The next thing I need to do is basically change the section title, change that to font size, set that to 2 rem. And yeah, it will basically have a smaller font size, and that is pretty much it for the media queries for 768. So when it breaks to 480 pixels, right? When it breaks to 480 pixels, I'm just going to do hero h1, set that to even smaller, so do font size set to 2 rem, and do hero p, send that to font size set to 1 rem, set the nav to padding 0 and 1 rem, and do container, set that to padding 0 and 1 rem, like that. And yeah, the last finishing touch for our website is, as you see, when you click these, right, it's basically teleports. It basically teleports you to that section, right? Now I want it so it scrolls down. So to do that, what I can do is select the HTML tag and do scroll behavior, set that to smooth. And if I come here, right? If I come here, I can, when I click over it, okay, it basically scrolls down like that. It's a pretty cool effect. You can put it just like that, and yeah, it basically makes the experience a whole lot smoother, or like better. And right now it should be styled for the smallest and smallest of screens. So if I go here and use iPhone SE, that's the smallest screen we have, it should be responsive for that phone or that device too. Now this thing does not work here because we haven't put the JavaScript, but it should be responsive for pretty much any screen that's small. And yeah, just like that. And once you hit certain screen, it should come just like that. Should look pretty nice. And yeah, that is, so responsiveness is done, right? Oops. Just gonna put it right there, and boom. Now let's move on to JavaScript. So for this, I'm not gonna do too crazy because it doesn't have anything in the first place anyways, right? The first thing I need to do is make the contact. So when you submit anything, I wanted to, give an alert saying thank you for the message. So for that, I basically need to listen to that form. So I'm just going to listen to contact form, and I'm going to add event listener here saying it will listen to submit, because when you hit send message, it will listen to the submit button, right? So here I'm just going to do function and do e.prevent default. That will basically prevent any default events like reloading the page or anything, and do alert here saying thank you for your message. I will get back. Oops. What I can do here is I can change that to double quotes, so I can use single quotes here saying get back to you soon. I can do that. And now I can just reset the form like that. Now if I can just type anything here and just do that, if I click on submit, it will say thank you for your message, and when you click OK, that should reset everything here. There we go. Now to actually make the mobile toggle, right, the toggle menu, which is this right here. To do that, I'm just going to do mobile menu. First get the DOM, right, get the DOM, do query selector, and do mobile menu, get the mobile menu I, that being the actual thing. I can just do that, change that to drop down, so this will be the actual drop down. And just get that, do mobile drop down. Now what I can do here is basically do mobile menu dot add event listener and listen to a click, and when you click it, it will basically listen to mobile dropdown dot class list. It will change the toggle between active and here. Now for the menu, it will toggle that between FE bars and this times, right? So if I click her, it should load just like that. Pretty nice. And just like that. And yeah. So next thing that I need to do is do document dot query selector all, and select all of these and give the mobile drop down A, do for each link. So basically just holding link here, I forgot to put this. For every link, right, I'm basically going to do link dot add event listener. So we're basically listening to every single one of the things, right? We're basically listening to all of these. So I'm basically going to listen to all of that, all of those links. And I'm just going to do mobile dot dropdown dot class list dot remove active, and just basically just do mobile menu dot class list dot remove, just remove FA times, and just add bars like that. If I do that, that'll basically make the thing disappear when you click over it, just like that. Looks pretty nice. And yeah, that is one thing. Now next thing that I'm gonna make is I'm just basically gonna make a observer. I'm gonna use intersection observer for the fade, the animation, right? So for that, what I'm gonna do is first make my observer option object. So I'm just going to do const observer options here. This will be an object, putting a threshold of 0.1. That means if the if the element is 10% visible in the screen, I'm also gonna put a root margin. Put a root margin of 0 pixels, negative 50 pixels, and just do 50 pixels. This will basically add a imaginary margin in our web page. And just do const observer equals to new intersection observer, and do entries here, and do entries dot for each entry. I'm basically just gonna do that is check if the entry, the entry is in fact intersecting. That means the thing is visible in the screen. I'm basically gonna change the entry dot target dot style dot opacity. Opacity is equals to 1. If that is, I'm basically gonna change the target dot style dot transform. I'm also gonna change that to translate y as 0, just like that. Now I need to pass in this value here. In here, I'm also gonna do that, and yeah, should be pretty nice. If I do here, now it's not working, but we also have to observe the thing. So what I'm gonna do here is I need to make sure it observes all of these sections. So that is the the value or the object that we made. Now the thing that we have to apply it to our sections. So we have multiple sections. So I'm just gonna loop through all of the sections, applying everything to everything. So I'm just gonna do document. I'm just gonna select all of these sections, loop through them. So that's our first section. I'm just gonna do section dot style dot opacity, set that to 0. That'll basically make sure everything is disappeared, right? All of these sections. And here I'm just gonna do section dot style dot transform. I'm basically gonna do translate y at 30 pixels, just like that, and basically gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna change that to transition, and basically gonna do opacity 0.8 seconds, 8 seconds at ease. I also do transform 0.8 seconds at ease, and we'll observe our observer settings, and we'll observe the section. So if I now scroll down here, if I reload the page, now it will have the effect just like that. Looks pretty nice, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So last thing I need to do is I'm just gonna set the document.query selector, our hero section, which by default was not, I'm gonna change that to 1 just in case it wasn't, and also set the transform property to this right here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for our portfolio. Looks pretty nice, and there are no issues. Yep. And our only thing works perfectly. Yep, works fine. All of our style does work pretty great, just like that. Our style works fine, and yeah, is responsive to like every screen, the smallest to smallest screen, right? Let's see, that's the small screen. It is perfectly usable here, just like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's stream, guys. So I can just do that, boom, and yeah. That's pretty much it for today's stream, guys. I hope you enjoyed the portfolio that we made today. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in another stream with another project or another tutorial. With that said, till then, bye bye. Hello guys, welcome back to another stream. So today I'm here with another project video as usual. So today's project video will be something that some of you guys requested in the comments, and that is a portfolio. So we have done a lot of projects, and you guys said, do a portfolio too. So I'm here with it. So today we'll be building a modern and sleek portfolio of yours that you can use to show off to various companies, right? Now again, don't absolutely copy this code, and try to make it yourself and your own design, but you can take it motivation, or I mean inspiration, not motivation. You can take inspiration from this project video. So without further ado, let's get started. So first, what I'm going to do is make a index. I forgot HTML. Oops. .html, and we'll make two more files, that is style.css and script.js as usual. I'm just going to do that. I type JSX. Okay, we are not building in React. It's my habit of typing JSX. It's like every time I type JS. So after that, what I'm going to do is make our boilerplate code, and what I'm going to do here is title is portfolio. I'm just going to type the portfolio, and I'm going to import few stuff that I need. So first of all, I will link my style.css just like that, and under this I'm just going to import my script.js. So our HTML file is linked with our CSS and JS file. So after that, what I'm going to do is copy few stuff that I have. That is, the first one is our font awesome cloud, right? The first is that will allow us to use font awesome icons. Another is they'll basically import inter, which will be our font that we'll be using, right? Makes sense? Makes sense. So this is Google font. You can probably search it up in Google Fonts saying inter, and you can find this link. Well, you can copy this link and paste it in an HTML file, and you can use inter text, right? Or inter font, not text. And after that, it should be fine. I've already made another dedicated video to how to use font awesome icons. If you can do that, you can check out the 10th episode, which was our project video of HTML and CSS series. And there I have perfectly explained how to how to use font awesome icons in your HTML project. After that, let's actually get ahead and get started with our code. The first thing that we'll be building is navbar. Before I do anything, I want to do a few stuff. Give me a second. The first thing what I'm going to do is probably just close this. And not this. I'm just gonna go live here first, and just gonna do this as usual, and this will be our thing. I'm just gonna put it right there, and we can get started because we did go live, right? The next what I'm gonna do is inside this, what I'm gonna do is probably make a div called container. So this will be inside the navbar, which is again our navbar. The more you know. So this will be our navbar, obviously, and inside this will be the container that will wrap everything inside the navbar. So what I'm going to do here is also make a nav container, right? I'm gonna make a nav container just like that, and inside this I'm gonna make a UL tag, and I'm gonna make li, and inside this I'm gonna make an anchor tag, and after that what I'm gonna do is for UL tag I'm gonna give a class of navlinks just like that, and this should be fine. Now I can just copy this and paste it a bunch of times, however many I need. I think 6 should be enough. So the first one will be for home, right? This will be for home, and I'll also name it home. Just like that. This will be our navbar, you know. We always make our navbar with list. Usually, we can also make with other stuff, but list is generally easier. And it's just another is qualifications, just like that. And also type about here, just like that, and also do qualifications. And after that, next thing is skills. So I'm just gonna type skills here and also do skills here. And after that, I'm just gonna type projects. Copy that, paste here. You can also do that. Next and last is probably contact section. So what I'm going to do here is individual link on the navbar will take you to individual sections that will separate in our HTML structure, right? And this will take to the home section, about section, qualification section, skills section, project section, and contact section. And after that, the last one is contact, and boom, there we are. That's our navbar. So for now, it looks absolutely horrible because we haven't, styled it using CSS. But once we do it, it will look absolutely beautiful, let me tell you. And I'm also going to comment that out. And make sure in your portfolio code, if for some reason the, interviewer wants to see your portfolio code, make sure to comment like neatly, okay? Like comments, usually in my opinion, comments are like great, but for the meme, the meme, the programmer that needs comment is not a real programmer. I'm kidding. Comment your code, guys. I'm just kidding. Okay, the first thing I'm going to build is called section. So this will basically separate our, home, about, and all of that section. So the first section, I will name it ID home. Do link it with this link tag. So when you click on this home tag, this will take you to this section. So after that, the next thing is hero. So after the navbar, right? After the navbar, what we will be building is basically just a hero section. So what are hero sections? Hero sections are the, the section that you see when you open a web page, which is right under the navbar with probably an image or some kind of text. That is a hero section. So to build hero section, the first one I'm going to do is obviously I have made a section. Next thing I'm just going to wrap it inside a container. Inside this, I'm going to do hero content. So this will be the hero content. Inside this, I'm going to make another divs that will be called hero text. So this will be the text, all of the text that we need. The first thing is I'm going to do Rick Ashley, just like that, right? The next is paragraph, what I'm thinking. And that will say computer science. Let me scroll down a bit because emmets are covering the whole screen. And I'm just going to do hero science student and web developer. So that will be our short description. I'll also give a class of subtitles so we can style this. And after this, I am just gonna do P, and I'm just gonna copy a text that I have that I basically set up using ChatGPT. This text right here: passionate about creating innovative solutions and building meaningful digital experiences. Currently pursuing my degree in computer science with a focus on full stack development and emerging technologies. So that's, yeah, you can basically do that. Or you can write it yourself, even better. If you do that, hey, it's even better. I mean, I didn't have time, so I just ChatGPT'd it. No shame, no shame. So next is CTA buttons. So what are CTA buttons? CTA buttons are just we'll basically just make two buttons. One will be for view my work, which will take you probably to a GitHub. You can probably, GitHub or project section that will, which is right under, and it has all of your project that will take you to GitHub. And you can set that up if you want. It will just set up to the anchor tag for href to your GitHub profile. That's super simple to do. And after that, what I'm going to do is basically put a here, and this will take you to the projects section. Oh my god, I cannot speak. And inside this anchor tag, I'm going to also put a I was going to say I will put an icon, but before that, what I'm going to do is give it this a class. So it's first will be btn for button, and also do button primary, because we have two buttons. So we have to do one will be button primary and another will be button secondary. So after that is the icon tag. So for that, I'm just gonna call a code icon, which will be just like this. And inside this anchor tag, I'm also gonna type view my work, just like that. And this will be right over there. So yeah, that should be it. The next thing I want to do is also do this, just like that. And this will be for get in touch. This will take you to the contact section, hopefully. Yep, there we go. And for this, I'm just gonna do the envelope icon, right? Oh, I changed the wrong thing, oops. Envelope, there we go. And after that, I'm just gonna do get in touch. I'm just gonna type that, and yeah, that should be our hero section, at least up until here, right? So what I'm gonna do here is up to hero text, which is this right here. After this div, what I'm gonna do is make a div called hero image. So this will be your image, your portfolio, you gotta have your image. For my image, I'm just gonna do this. And for all, I'm just gonna type Rick Ashley. There we go. And after that, our hero section is done, at least the HTML structure. And next is our about section. So we'll basically be making all of our section. The first we did our home section, and now we do our about section. So what I'm going to do here is basically make a section, and I'll give this section a ID of about, and also give a class of about. There we go. Inside this section, what I'm going to do is basically make a div called container again. Under this, I'm going to make a issue tag, a title. So just do about me, just like that. And also give a class of section title. I'm just going to do fade in. Because I want it to fade in. So you'll see what I'm doing here. It'll basically, when you scroll down to scroll down, when you're scrolling down from your portfolio, or at least this portfolio, all of the sections will be appearing in a fade in transition. So what I'm basically trying to make is that. So after that, I'm just going to do about content, which will hold all of our content, right? And what I'm going to do inside this, I'm going to make a div that will have a about image class, and also have a fade in. Again, this will be fade in. Inside this, what I'm going to do is make image, and for image, again, because in about me, you gotta have the image, and for the image, we again have another Rick thing, and I'm just gonna do about Rick. I'm not sure what the artist's its name. I googled it and it said Rick Ashley. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat. And I'm just gonna do that, okay? And what I'm gonna do is do about text and do fade in, right? Okay, obviously I'm doing this for just to troll you guys. I'm just joking, right? But like in your portfolio, like pick a very professional image of yourself. You have professional picture. Otherwise, if you pick like me, then good luck getting your job, guys. That will be a little bit difficult. And after this is about text, right? For about text, what I'm going to do is just first put a hidden tag saying driven by innovation and learning. That's it. And after that, what I'm going to do is do paragraph tag. And I will again copy another paragraph that I may or may not have taken from ChatGPT, right? And after that is another p tag, more about. So I'm just gonna do that. Just like that. And after that, what I'm gonna do is now we basically make all of our stats. So for stats, what I'm gonna do is obviously make a div called stats. Inside this, it will be our individual stat. We'll probably use grid unless flex is easier. So yeah, the first thing what I'm gonna do is basically say stat item. So this will be our individual item, right? And inside this, what I'm going to do is make a stat number div, and this will have probably plus 15, I guess. I'm going to copy paste this, change this to label, and do project completed. So there we go. Right? Now what I can do is copy this and paste it 2 times. Okay, so another thing that you can do to impress your, probably make your portfolio even better is you can use JavaScript to, dynamically just add it into your stats div. That's better, because you don't have to write more HTML structure. And you can just show that you also know map and other higher order functions. So yeah, you can also do that. If you want to do that, then we have a JavaScript series. I'll put the link in the description if you can find it. So yeah, that will be after stream though. So yeah, because right now we cannot do it. So the first thing will be for projects completed. Second will be for GPA. And the third one will be for years experience, just like that. All of this are almost the same class. It will have a similar styling inside the stat div. And yeah, that should be it for this section. So another section is the qualification section. What I'm going to do is do qualification section. Just gonna comment this part out. And next is qualifications. What I'm going to do is make a section that will have an class of they'll have a class of qualifications, right? And also an ID of qualifications, just like that. And inside this, what I'm going to do is make a container. Inside this, what I'm going to do is again make this, and I'm just gonna copy this because again I'm making another title. Only thing I'm changing is the content. So this will be education and qualification. So this will be a qual grid. So what I'm gonna do is this will be a qual grid. So I'm just gonna do qual grid. Qual again stands for qualifications. So yeah, that makes sense. So inside this, what I'm gonna do is make a class called qual card. So this will be one of many cards, and also have a fade in transition, just like that, which we'll be making in the CSS section. Inside this, first of all, we need a icon. So I'm just gonna do class FASFA graduation cap, right? Or, this will be other qualifications, and also have a qual icon. So as just like that, this will be our, you can see the graduation cap appeared. And under this, I'm just gonna do H3 and type bachelor in science. I spell science. What's the spelling of science again? Science. There you go. Science in computer science. I don't think that makes sense. Bachelor's in science in computer science. I'm just gonna do bachelor's in computer science. I'm not gonna complicate it, just like that. And after this, what I'm gonna do is make a div that will have a institution, right? For institution, what I'm gonna do is do University of Technology. It's just random university. I don't know if it even exists. And next is year. So this like that. And what I'm gonna do here is do 2022 to 2026 expected. Just like that. And next is paragraph. And I have a lot of things that relevant coursework. So this will be our relevant coursework. I'll say a bunch of qualifications that we have. Data structures, algorithms, software engineering, database, web development, and machine learning, all of that stuff. And yeah, so this is one qual card, right? We have multiple of these, so I'm just gonna copy and paste it a couple different times. So this will be 1, 2, 3. So this all together, it'll be 4. So what I'm gonna do is just change our icons. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this to a certificate icon, like that, certificate. And after that, what I'm going to do is just type full stack web development. Again, by the way, if you want the code to this project, it will be in the link in the description after the stream ends. I will put the link in description of the stream after the stream ends. So yeah, free code camp. And after that is I'm just gonna type 2023 here. And also after this, I'm just gonna do comprehensive. I'm just gonna copy paste this. Yep, there you go. Oops, there we go. That makes sense. And after that is another qual card. So what I'm going to do here is basically the third one is for award, if you have any. And I'm just gonna do some random things. I'm just gonna do practitioner. So this will be our, AWS. If you have taken the course of AWS or any other course, you can put it here. And institution will be Amazon Web Services. And also do 2024 here. And next is, again, for paragraph, I have a thing that I have here. Pieces. Again, for the code, link will be in the video description. It will take you to our coding labs, where you can, again, you can code your own things, or even share it with your friends and other coworkers, like I'm doing to you guys, right? Yeah, you code, you hit publish, and you can share the link to anyone you want. Pretty easy. And if and they cannot mess with the code. They can see the code and like mess around with it, but it will not mess with the actual code, right? That makes sense. Because if they could do that, that will be an absolute disaster. And after that is the last thing. That will be just trophy. If you have won any things, you can put right here, or you can just change the qual card to your liking. It doesn't really It's not that it has to be just like this. You can modify it again, however the thing you want. Okay. The thing the reason I'm making this is to give you guys a brief idea of how a portfolio would look like. Right? You can modify this to your liking, and you can change it however that you want. It doesn't really matter, honestly. Most of the companies are just interested in your skills, and this is a very, very good way of showing your skills to a company. So, yeah. So next is the skills section. For the skills section, what I'm going to do is, again, make another thing. This is our fourth section. After that, we'll make project and contacts, and I'll finish this bad boy, at least for HTML structure. And what I'm going to do here is also do sections ID and skills. For the section, I'll give skills, and also for the class, this will have a skills. And inside this, what I'm going to do is also make a container. Inside this, I'm going to make an h2 tag which says skills and technologies, just like this. And for class, what I'm going to do is section title fade in, just like that. And for the class, what I'm going to do is I'll make a grid. This will be another grid that we'll be making. And this div will have a grid. The first thing I'm going to do is wrap everything inside a div. So I'm going to make a div that will say skill category and also have a fade in class. Under this, what I'm going to do is put a icon tag. So I'm just going to copy these. Oops. I hit Control-C twice. So after this, what I'm going to do is change the code. So this will be for code, just like that. I don't need that. I'm going to copy that. And next is I'm just going to do programming languages. So this will have this will basically show your skills. And the first one will be how many programming languages you know. So I'm just going to make a Java. By the way, guys, remembering Java, if you guys want a Java series, then, comment down below. Me and my team have been thinking of doing it. So if you want that, then, hit the like button. Or just say in the comments that you want this to be real. You want Java series. You can also do C++ if you want. So I'm just going to copy this a bunch of times, and 1, 2, and probably one more, 4 should be enough. And I need to change the things to code. I'm just going to do front-end development here, front-end development, just like that, and I'm going to do React, Vue.js, HTML5. If you want a React series, comment that too. We have a lot of projects coming in, and yeah, if you are interested, you can also do Tailwind if you want, Next is what I'm going to do. Here, what I'm going to do is probably for the backend. So I'm just going to do, first will be front end, next will be backend development. And also for that, I'm just going to type Node.js. That is a backend server, a backend programming language, which is again based on JavaScript, right? And I'm just going to do Django, Express, Django, REST APIs, and also probably change this to GraphQL. Put that too. And at last, I'm just gonna do database knowledge. So I'm just gonna type database and tools. For database, let's say you know MongoDB. That is one database that you can learn. Next is Postgres SQL. So yep. And the third one is Git. That's another, and also do Docker. And the last one will be AWS for some other things, because it is database and tools, you know. And yeah, that is our skills section. After that, we have our project section. Also, probably give an idea of the same things. Remember, guys, if you don't give the same as this one, it will not take you to this. Let's see if I click on projects. It's not taking me because I've just made the thing. If I do a runner here and click on that, it will take me to project section. Now I've not made anything, so that's why this is not showing anything. We have to style it, obviously. After that, we can, you know, like, it will probably take you, it will basically look really good, don't worry. And after this, we'll probably do half of it today because it's a really long project and I don't want the stream to be too long. So yeah, we'll see. And next is I'm gonna make a container, obviously. Inside this, I'm just gonna do featured projects. And this will have a class of section title and do fade in. And just do, I'm gonna make a div called projects grid. Inside this, I'm gonna make another thing, project card. This will be our individual project card. We'll again have fade in. And here, what I'm gonna do is make our one individual card, right? So the first thing in the card is the image. So I'm gonna make a div that will have the class of project image. And here what I'm gonna do is put an image, and I'm not gonna put anything. The reason I'm not putting anything is basically I don't have any project image, like dummy project image. Now, for your case, you can put your own image. Let's say this is the e-commerce website, right? E-commerce website or platform and anything. You can put all of your image in here, and you know, that will make sense, right? Now I'm just gonna do project content. Inside the project content, what I'm gonna do is make I'm gonna make an history and just give a heading saying e-commerce platform. I'm gonna give P and I'm gonna put a dummy paragraph, just like that. And inside this, what I'm gonna do is make a project tag. Inside this, I'm gonna do is make span, and this will have a class of tag. I'll basically copy this, paste it 4 times, and inside this, it'll basically take you what did you use to build this. So I'm just saying React, Node.js. For database, let's say it's MongoDB. And next is Stripe. Yeah, the last one is Stripe. So this is for the project content. After the project content, what I'm going to do is actually inside, after this, what I'm going to do is make project links. So project links. So for now, mine will be blank, right? It will not take you to anything because I don't have these projects. It's just dummy projects. But in your case, it could lead to somewhere. It could be your GitHub or a live demo if you have, deployed the thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna do external link at alt. I'm just gonna close that. Not there. Post just like that. And I'm just gonna type live demo. There we go. And what I'm gonna do here is copy and paste this. Change it if, let's say, you have the thing and also you want to show the code, you can probably, take them to GitHub if you want. And I'm just gonna take GitHub. That will give us the GitHub logo. And there we go. That will give us the GitHub logo. And yeah, that's one of our cards. Pretty cool. So this is our one card that, we need. Now we'll have multiple of these cards. So for the projects, I'm just gonna copy this 3 times. I'm not gonna change any project content because that is your guys to do, not mine. I'm kidding. Obviously put your projects here and just showcase them, right? If you can deploy them, or you just take them to your GitHub profile. But deploying it is kind of actually better because they can directly see all of the things that that's been need. Like they will see exactly what what you're expecting them to see. So the the second last thing that we'll be making is the hobbies section. I think I forgot to make the hobbies section in the navbar, but I don't think we need hobbies in the navbar. We'll basically just make a small hobbies section that you can see. So I'm just gonna comment hobbies section just like that, and go under here and just type section. This will have an ID of hobbies, not ID, class of hobbies, and ID of hobbies. Inside this, I'm just gonna make a sorry. Inside this container, I'm gonna make another thing, and I'll have a h2 of hobbies and interest, and this will also have a class of section title, the same thing that you saw earlier, and a fade in. Right? Makes sense. So under this, what I'm going to do is also I'll make another div with a class of hobbies grid. Under this, what I'm going to do is make a icon tag. So I'm just going to quickly copy one of these. And here what I'm going to do is the first thing will be, I'm just going to put random hobbies. The first one, I'm just going to set it to camera, and this will be our hobbies of probably photography. So I'm just going to type photography. Under this, I'm just going to do I'm just going to type capturing moments and exploring creative perspectives. There we go. So this will be our one hobby. So inside the hobby grid, I forgot to actually wrap this inside another. So I'm going to wrap it inside another saying hobby item. I'll give another saying, also give paid in. Inside this, I'm just going to put all of this. Like that, and format the document. So this will be one hobby item. I'm just gonna copy this, paste it for how many the hobby that you have. I'm just gonna do some of these, and yeah, this will be, now you can probably change it. Let me change few, and I'll not change that many. So next is probably gamepad. I'm just gonna put gaming here, and I'm just gonna copy a dummy text just like that, and I'm just, next will be, let's say, hiking, and I'm gonna put this here too. Change that here. I'm also gonna put a dummy text. Just like that. And the next one probably is a book. I'm just gonna do reading. You can put all of your hobbies. Do reading, and I'm also gonna paste it here. The last one that I'm gonna make is music, and also do probably put music here, and also do just like this. I'm gonna make one more because why not? This will have the users, and this will be for volume hearing. And I'm just gonna paste it just like that. And yeah, that is our hobby section. Quick and easy hobby section that we created, right? And the next section that we need to make is the last section. That is the contact section. After that is the footer section, and then we're finished. We don't have anything in the footer section, just only copyright reserves, and that's it. And for the contact section, I'm just gonna give a class of contact and a ID of contact. Inside this, what I'm gonna do is make another div first thing container. Inside this, I'm gonna make a h2 class. Now I'm just gonna copy this, paste right here, and just change this to get in touch. And after that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a div called contact content. And the first thing I need to do is format the document. Inside this div, I'm gonna make another div saying contact info. Also gonna give the fade in. And under this, what I'm gonna do is do h3, and that will say let's connect. I'm gonna make a paragraph tag with another dummy text. Just like this. And here I'm just gonna do a contact item. This will basically be a lot of the things. So I'm just gonna make a div that will say contact item, and I'm gonna put a icon tag. So I'm just gonna copy this, paste here, format document, and what I'm gonna do here is also change this to a envelope, just like this. And I'm going to make another div, and I'm going to do strong email. I'll put br here. Let's also do alex dot or whatever you want. I can do rick ashley@gmail.com. There we go. Just a random text. And this will basically have all of the things. And I'm just going to copy this, paste it a few times. Let's say 3 times. The next one will be a phone. I'm just gonna probably put phone and just put a random phone number like this. And here what I'm going to do is have a location kind of. So I'm just going to do map marker all. That will give us the location symbol. And just do a location and just type like San Francisco CA. Yep. After the contact info, what I'm going to do is give all of our social links. So what I'm going to do is do social links. I'm going to make div of that. give anchor tag to nowhere, and also give a icon tag. So I'm just gonna copy one of these here, just like that. You know what? I'm just gonna type. I think it's not working. So I'm just gonna do fab and FA LinkedIn. So this will have the LinkedIn logo. Now here what I'm gonna do is just a bunch of that and change the social media icons to, let's say the second one will be GitHub, third one will be Twitter or X, if you want to call it, and you can call it whatever you want. I still have the habit of calling like X Twitter, even though it's X now after Elon Musk took it over. But yeah. So after this, what I'm going to do is make another saying this will be our contact form. So I'm going to make a div called contact form. Right, and also gonna make the fade in. Under this, I'm gonna make a form tag to wrap it inside of this. I don't need actions because we are not specifying this for get or post, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a div of form group. So this will be our one of the form groups. We'll have multiple groups. The first thing, well, what I'm gonna do is make a label, and for it will be name. I'm going to type name here, and next will be the actual input field. What I'm going to do is give ID of name, also name of name, also give a placeholder of your name, also give it a required just like that. And yeah, that's our first of many form groups. Now I need, so the first one is for name, email, subject, and probably message. That'll be a text area, but we'll probably change that. The first one, the second one is for obviously email, as I said. I'm just gonna change that to email. This will be email, ID will be email, name will be email, placeholder is your .email example.com. So I'm just gonna type that. Also, this is another required portion. Next will be form group. This will be for subject, and this will also be for subject. Copy that, paste that here, paste that here, paste that here. And I was saying, what's this about? Yeah. And here I'm just gonna type message. I'm gonna type message right here. Copy, paste that here, paste that here, paste that here. I'm just gonna do your message here. I'm going to do required and also do ID. I'm going to change the input field to a text area, just like that. Why does it have a div inside that? Oh, I forgot to close. Oh. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is, last I'm going to make a button. So yeah. What I'm going to do here, for the text area, you don't need a type attribute, obviously. You need a name and a placeholder too. And text area also takes a closing tag. Do that. And that should fix our that. There we go. So yeah, after that is the submit. So I'm just gonna make a button of, I'm just gonna do button of button, and I'm just gonna say that this is button primary, just like that. And inside this, what I'm going to do is also define a type that will be for submit, and also copy one of these and put it right here. This will basically be a send, like paper plane sending icon. I'm going to do paper plane, just like that. And yeah, not plane, there we go. You can see the button right there. And under this, I'm just going to do send message. There we go. So yeah, that is our contact section. Pretty long section, but oh well. And last is our footer section. Comment that out, make a quick little footer section. I'm gonna make a thing container. Inside this, I'm gonna make a paragraph tag. That'll basically say a bunch of things. Just gonna do that, and yeah. And I'm gonna change the name to Rick Astley. And boom. That will be our thing. So yeah. That is our HTML structure. Let's style it using CSS now. So let's go ahead and start using CSS. What I'm gonna do is do this here. Like in this project, it'll be pretty long CSS, probably over 500 things. So I'm just gonna type the bare essential, that is, margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing word box. For our body, what I'm gonna do is, remember we imported our inter? I'm just gonna use inter and sans serif. Just like that. I'm just gonna do line height to 1.6. Also gonna do color probably to, it's right here, and also gonna do background color to white. You can put this too, that also works. And after that is the dot container. So I'm gonna do is a dot container max width world 100 pixels. Also gonna do margin 0 and auto. Also gonna do padding 0 and 20 pixels. That is our container. So next is for navbar. So what I'm gonna do is do position. I'm gonna put it to fixed, obviously, because I want it to be always at the top. And also do top 0, because top 0 will make sure that it's fixed on top, right? I'm going to do width 100%. I'm also going to do background to RGBA 255, 255, 255. I'm also going to do 0, and I'll probably put 1 here to put that. Probably a letter background 0.9. Yeah, kind of doesn't make sense, but like, yeah. Also gonna do backdrop filter. I'm gonna add a blur effect of 10 pixels. Also gonna do the index of 1000, so to make sure it's always at the top. Also padding to 1 rem and 0. Also gonna do transition to all 0.3 seconds at each, as usual. So next is the nav scroll. So what I'm gonna do here is do box shadow to 0 to 2 pixels, 20 pixels, and RGBA to 0, 0, 0, 0.1. There we go. So this is for if the nav roll is scrolled, right? It will add a box shadow. And also do nav container. What I'm going to do here is add a flex. Also do justify content center, not center, space between. Also do align item center. If I do that, there we go. No, it's right there. And next, what I'm going to do is for the logo. Now for the logo, I don't have anything, right? I don't have anything for the logo, but what I can do is probably put a default logo and just probably say this RS, you know? That'll be pretty sweet. And under this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do font size. I'm just going to do 1.5 rem, and also going to do font weight. I'm going to put it to 700 to make it really dark, and also going to do color. We'll have a bluish color, so I'm just going to do 2563 EB. So it's like bluish color, just like that. And that's our logo. Now for nav links, what I'm going to do is do nav links, and just going to do display flex and do list style type, and just take it to none. Make a gap of 2 rem, just like that. As you can see, it is looking great. And next, what I'm going to do is do nav links A. This is for all of the anchor tags. I'm going to do text decoration to none, just like that. And also do color. I'm going to put it to this right there. It's going to do font weight to 500. Also going to put transition to color 0.3s at ease. Also going to do position to relative. And yeah, that's our, nav links. Now for nav links A hover. So I'm just going to do nav links A. I'm going to do hover. So when you hover on the nav icon, the nav stuff, all of these, right? What it will do is basically change the color to this. As you can see, that's one. So what I'm going to do is do that. Also, what I'm going to do is probably copy this and do after and do content this, right? What I'm going to make is next will be absolute. I'm going to position it absolute after and do width 0, height 2 pixels. And also going to do bottom. I'm going to put it to negative 15 pixels, and also going to do left 0. Brown color, I'm going to put it to that, and also going to do transition. I'm going to put it to width 0.3 seconds at ease. And I'm going to do hover and after. So I'm just going to first copy this. While hovering, trigger after and change the width to 100%, which was 0 initially. If I now do this, as you can see, it has a line effect that looks pretty cool on the navbar, right? And the navbar is fixed on the top. Pretty cool. Yeah, and that is our navbar. The next is hero section. I'm just gonna comment saying hero section, and I'm just gonna type .hero. I was gonna do min height. I'm gonna do 100 VH. I was gonna do display flex. Also gonna do align item center. I was gonna do padding top 80 pixels, and I was gonna do background color to F8 FAFC. There we go. That's our hero section. I flexed it, and it looks pretty good. And yeah, so what I'm going to do here is also do that. class here, right? And yeah, that should be really good. So next, what I can do is probably do hero content. What I'm going to do here is display. I'm going to use it display as grid. I'm going to do grid template columns, one fraction and one fraction, like that. And also going to do gap, put it at 4M. And I'm also going to do align items to center. And yeah, that is our grid. Looks pretty cool, right? And next what I'm going to do is do hero text. So hero text of h1. What I'm going to do is take the font size to 3.5 rem. 3.5 rem. By the way, guys, this will be all responsive. Don't worry. If you're thinking, are we building responsive or not? Yes, we are. We are actually making this thing responsive. The next is margin bottom. What I'm going to do is do 1 rem. And do color. I'm just going to put a blackish color. 1E, 2.9, and 3B. Also going to do opacity of 0. And animation, we'll basically be putting my animation of fade in up. 1 second is forwards, just like that. And next, what I'm going to do is put the hero text dot subtitle, and I'm just going to do font size 1.25 rem. I was going to do color. This I'm also going to do margin bottom 1.5 rem. I was going to do opacity of 0, and also put the same animation to this, like that. Now what I can do is probably copy this. Next is for paragraphs. I'm just gonna change this to P, this to 1. I have a separate color for, like, let's say 64, 74, and 8B, kind of grayish color. I was gonna do 2 rem here, and also gonna do that, and we'll have the same animation. And what I'm gonna do here is also gonna give the next is I'm just gonna do hero image. Next line I'm gonna do center. Do opacity to 0. And also do animation. I'm just gonna paste this. Just like that. What I'm gonna do next is the hero image img. I'm just gonna do width of 300 pixels. I was gonna do height of 300 pixels in the border. So these are all of the things that we need to make. I'm just basically, at last, I'm gonna make the thing. Don't worry. Next, what I'm gonna do is also give a object fit of cover. Also give a box shadow of 0, 20 pixel, and 40 pixel RGBA 0.1. Also gonna do transition of transform 0.3 seconds at ease. So after this, what I'm gonna do is probably make the fade up in transition. So let me quickly do that. So for that, we use keyframes, obviously. I'm gonna do keyframes identifier, that will be fade in up, just like that. And what I'm gonna do here is I probably misspelled it. It needs to be fade in up. Something like that. So for enough, what I'm going to do is basically do from opacity. I'm just going to do that. I'm also going to do transform. I'm going to do translate y and just do 30 pixels. I'm going to do 2 and do opacity 1 and do transform to translate to y0. There we go. Looks cool, as you can see. Looks cool, right? Now next, what I'm going to do is after the image, what we have is basically this, right? And after that, we have to also put the image hover. So I'm just going to do hover. I'm just going to scale this thing to a little bit more. If you click over that, it will scale just like that. Now for the CTA buttons, right? Now for the CTA buttons, I'm just going to do display flex and do gap of 1 rem. I was going to do opacity of 0. I was going to do animation to fade in up. 1 second at ease 0.8s forwards. Just like that. And oh. So what I'm going to do here is also going to, for now I'm just going to make that and also do, I'm going to style the button first. I'm just going to do padding 12 pixels, 24 pixels. I'm also going to do border none, and also going to do border radius to 8 pixels. I was going to do font weight, to 600. Now what I can do here is probably give this and put, I can just copy this and just paste it here. And yeah, that should be fine. The next one I'm going to do here is font weight. After that, I'm just going to do text decoration. Let me scroll down. Do text decoration, I'm going to put it to none. Also going to do display inline flex, and also going to do align item center. Also going to do a gap of 0.5 rem. Also going to do transition. I'm going to put it to all 0.3 seconds at ease. Also going to do cursor to pointer. Just like that. Now for the primary, right? What I'm going to do is for the primer button, I'm just going to change the background color to this and also give a color of white. There we go. Both are primary. Oops. This is supposed to be secondary. Just like that. And for the primary hover, I'm just going to change the background color to something a little less blue. So I'm just going to 1d488. So it will be a little darker. And also going to do transform, translate at -2 pixels. And yeah, that should be it. And what I'm going to do here is also going to do this. So for the secondary, I'm gonna put the background color to transparent, do color, I'm gonna do white, and do transform. I'm transparent, but okay, so I'm gonna do that. I don't know why I put transparent there. But what I can do is what I can do is put this, because if these are same, it will not kind of look bad. So I'm just gonna change that. Put the bound to actual transparent to look like that. So what I'm gonna do here is for the transform, I'm just gonna translate. Nah. What I'm gonna do is do border 2 pixels, solid, same color as this one. Now it looks good. Now what I can do is paste that. Now change this to hover. In hover, what I'm gonna do is copy this, and I'm gonna change that color to white, and transform, translate to -2 pixels. Now, as you can see, it looks really good. Now next, what we'll be doing is styling the section. So here, I'm just gonna call section and oops, just like that, and give it padding. Let me scroll down so you guys can actually see. Now padding, I'm gonna give 5 rem and just 0. That will be our section, right? After that, what I'm gonna do is do section title. So this will be all of the title sections. That is about me, like education, qualifications, skill set, technologies, and features, projects, everything like that. What I'm gonna do is text line, I'm gonna do it center, all right? Next, I'm just gonna do font size 2.5 rem. Also gonna do font weight, I'm gonna do 700. I'm also gonna do margin bottom to 3 rem. I'm also gonna do color to probably this one right here. So that will be our about me. Now for the about section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment saying it's about section, call the about, and just set the background color to white. Now it will have a transition color just like that, because you know the upper part, this was kind of gray, now this is white. Now for this section, now what I'm going to do here is basically display it as a grid. It will be much more easier. You can also use flex, obviously, but grid is kind of easier, and it gives me a little bit more control over the layout, right? What I'm going to do is do grid template columns to 1 fraction and 2 fractions. I'm also going to give gap to around 4 rem and also align everything to center, just like that. As you can see, let me probably do it a little bit like that, you know, just to see the actual website more, because we're just styling CSS anyways. What I'm going to do is do about, I'm going to do image imz. So this is the actual image. What I'm going to do here is give a width of 100%. I was going to give a border radius of 12 pixels and also give a box shadow of 0, 10 pixels, 30 pixels, and RGBA, I'm just going to give that. There we go. It should look pretty good. Now next I need to do is do about text and start styling our text. So first things first is the header of this. I'm going to give a 1.5 rem, kind of, it will be a little bit bigger, and do margin bottom, I'm going to give 1 rem. Also going to do color, I'm going to give the same color just like that. Now next I need to do is do about text. This time I'm going to change the paragraph. So for a paragraph, I'm going to give this color kind of a grayish color. I'm also going to give a margin bottom of 1.5 rem. That is approximately, how much? So around 24. I think it's 24 pixels. So I think I'm going to do stats now. So for stats, which is all of these things right here, right now it's just stacked on one another, right? What I'm going to do is also make that a grid. And I'm all going to do grid template columns, repeat, and do 3 for all 3, and just one fraction, just like that. Boom. And for gap, I'm just going to do probably 2 rem, not 1 rem. I don't think 1 rem will be enough. And do margin top, I'm gonna do 2 rem as well. And that should look pretty neat in terms of layout. Now, in terms of styling the individual item, what I'm going to do is call stat item and do text line center. I'm going to do padding. I'm going to do 1.5 rem, and also going to do border color of this one right here. I'm also going to do border radius of 12 pixels. We'll also having a transition of transform 0.3 section at ease. So what happened here is it didn't come. So what I'm gonna do, did I mess up something here? I don't think I did. I'm gonna see the stat item. Okay. Yep. Oh, okay, so background color. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do background color in this. Just type background, and that should look just like that. Now, what I'm going to do here is next is stat item hover, right? I'm going to do stat item hover. So when hovering, what I'm going to do is do pretty simple transition with transform. I'm just going to lift this up this much. It'll have a lifting effect just like this. So that is all for the div. So what I'm going to do is next is stat number. I forgot the class selector. Just like that. I'm going to make the font size really big, so around 2 rem. As you can see, these text right here became really big. Now it looks kind of slim, so I'm just going to give font weight of 700 to make it a little bit more bold. And give the same color to make it kind of look a heading. Now next is stat label. Just like that. For stat label will be color the usual grayish color that suits our theme, and also have a font weight of 500, a little bit more thicker text than usual. So that's our about me section. Next, what we have to do is style our qualifications. I'm just gonna type qualifications, comment that part out, and now we'll start. So the first thing I need to do is call the qualifications container. I'm gonna give the background color of this. I'm just basically alternating. So about me section background color was white, and the hero was kind of a color, which is kind of a grayish, but still whitish. This is absolutely pure white. Now this is again a little bit more grayish. So we're just alternating, you know, to see the separation in sections. So next what I'm going to do is under this, I'm going to scroll down so you guys can actually see, and the emits don't cover my whole entire VS Code, right? So next what I'm going to do is call the qual grid and display this as grid, and also do grid template columns, and I'm going to do repeat. I'll make it so it auto fits, and also do min max and do 300 pixels per fraction. So the one fraction of that, and that is our layout in terms of grid. I think I'll also add a gap of 2 rem, the usual. I also added 2 rem here. And after that is styling the actual card. So I'm gonna call the qual card, which is the actual card. For background, since the background is white, I'm gonna give a background of, not white, the background is gray. White will suit it better. So I'm also gonna give a padding of 2 rem, and give border radius at 12 pixels. Box shadow of 0, 5 pixels, 15 pixels. Also gonna give a RGBA of 0.08, just like that. I don't know why I did that. I don't need that. Just like that. Also gonna give a transition of all 0.3 seconds at ease. Now I'm gonna copy this, paste here. For the hover, I'm gonna transform, translate at -5 pixels like I did before. Also gonna do box shadow 0, 10 pixels, probably 30 pixels. Also gonna, I think I'm just gonna copy this, paste here, and change this to 1.5 probably. Now it looks pretty good. Now that's for the card. Now for the actual icons, so these icons right there, the graduation cap, the certification, award, and the trophy. What I'm gonna do is do qual icon. I'm gonna change their size to around 2.5 rem. That will make it really big. Color will be same like this because it suits the style. I'm gonna give a margin bottom about 1 rem. There we go. It's starting to come together. Next is qual card h3, which is the title. What I'm gonna do for this is do font size 1.25 rem. Also gonna give a margin bottom of 0.5 rem. Also gonna give the color to a blackish color of the, same thing. You can also make CSS variables for this, so you can directly put the thing into color. You can do that, but didn't really come to mind. But oh well. Next time I'll do it. Next is qual card and institution. What I'm gonna do, institution. I didn't mess up spelling of institution, did I? I always mess up like those spellings. Yeah, I haven't, don't worry. Okay, that's fine. So for institution, what I'm gonna do is set the color to what? This, I guess. Looks pretty cool. Just like that. And next one I'm gonna do is do font weight. Give it 600. I'm also gonna give it a margin bottom of 0.5 rem. There we go. Looks cool. Now next is qual card, but this time it's year, which is these text right here. For that, I'm just gonna change the color to our gray color. Also gonna change the font size to a little bit bigger, and also do margin bottom of 1 rem. So that pushes out there. And that is our education and qualification section. So next is our skills section. So I'm going to do skills section just like that, comment that out. I'm going to call the skills div. I'm going to do background color to white. Again, we did gray for education section. Now we'll do white for skills section. So next what I'm going to do is do skills. I'm also going to do skills grid. So we're calling the skills grid. There, I'm just going to do display grid. I'm also going to do grid template columns. Now for this, since there are a lot of them, what I'm going to do is just do repeat autofit, and I'm just going to do min max, I guess 250 pixels at 1 fraction, just like that. It'll come in this single line. And what I'm going to do here is also give a gap of 2 rem. Now it should go down. Oh, it fits. I thought it wouldn't. But if I do this, it would go down just like that. If I go more, it will go down. And at last, it will just be vertical. Like all of them will be aligned vertically. Okay, that's cool. But I think it will go down after we add some padding. So yeah, but it's fine. That means it's responsive, so that's good. The next is skill category, right? For category, I'm gonna set the background color to gray, because if I set that to white, it will basically just have, it'll just be transparent because our background of the container is also white. So padding, I'm also gonna give 2 rem. Also gonna give border radius of around 12 pixels. I'm also gonna give text line of center. I'm also gonna give a transition of transform 0.3 seconds at ease, just like that. Now for the skill category hover, I'm just gonna use the transform transition property, and again, as always, I'm just gonna do that. Now I will have a hover effect. Next is styling the everything inside that individual cars, like all of these, right? Now for the icons, what I'm gonna do is just do, I need to scroll again. Font size will be around 3 rem. Color of these will be our usual blue color. I was gonna give a margin bottom of 1 rem, just like that. Now skill category, now for the h3, which is these right there. What I'm gonna do is do margin bottom 1 rem and make sure the color is this. There we go. And for the skill tags, which is all of these, I'm gonna set a few things. That is, what I'm gonna do is do display flex. I'm gonna do flex wrap to wrap. I'm gonna do gap 0.5 rem. Also gonna do justify content to center. There we go. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. That is our skill section. Looks pretty neat. Yeah, in my opinion, it does. So let's move on to our project section. So for the project section, what I'm going to do is make a quick little comment. Always remember, guys, always comment your code unless you are a very good programmer, I guess. I remember hearing a meme that like a good programmer doesn't need comment, which again might be true if you can understand the code just by looking at it. That means you are a good programmer and you don't need comments. But for beginner programmers, comments are very, very important. So yeah. So background color, I'll alternate. The skills was white. I'm gonna make the feature project kind of gray. So after that, what I'm gonna do is do projects and grid. I'm gonna display grid here. I'm gonna do grid template columns and I'm gonna do repeat autofit. Just like that. I'm gonna do min max and do per. I'm just gonna do 250 pixels and 1 fraction. There we go. It will be just like this. And what I'm going to do is also give the gap of 2 rem. That will separate just like that. Next is the project card, right? For the project card, what I'm going to do is give background of white because the container background is gray. I'm going to give border radius of 12 pixels. I'm also going to give overflow. I'll put that to hidden. Box shadow, I'm just going to put 0, 5 pixels, 15 pixels, RGBA. Set it to this one right here. And at last, I'm going to set the transition to all 0.3 seconds at ease. Just like that. It looks congested. Now we have, because we haven't styled the actual card yet and all of the things. We are styling the card, but not the content inside the card. So for the project card hover, what I'm going to do is do transform, translate, and Y direction. with -5 pixels. That will give it a lift up effect. Now, since we have box shadow in that card and we are using translate y at -5 pixels, I'm also going to change the box shadow to give it like, when something moves, the shadow also moves. I'm just going to give that effect. So for that, initially it was, how much was it? 0.08. I'm going to give it to 0.15. So as you can see, it does like that. This is really cool effect. Now for the project image, which is an actual image, I'm going to give it a height, which is not the actual image, by the way. This is the container for that image. I'm also going to give a overflow of hidden. Now we will style the actual image, doing img here, calling the image tag inside the project image div. What I'm going to do is cover the image so like it takes all of the 200 pixels. In terms of height, I'm just gonna do 100 pixels. Now, what I'll do is basically for width, it will take, which is we have defined right here for individual cards is 350 pixels. So in height, it will have 250 pixels, and in height, it will have 200 pixels per image, just like that. So next, what I'm gonna do is do project card hover dot project card image img. In hover, I'm also gonna transform. I'm gonna scroll down. I did transform there. Do scale 1.1, so it will scale up a little bit, just like that. So next, what I'm gonna do is do project content. I'm gonna do padding 1.5 rem, just like that. And I'm going to do project content edge 3. I'm going to do margin bottom 0.5 rem. I was going to do colors. I'm going to set it to this, just like that. And again, if you have the pictures or screenshots to your project, you can put them in the image tag or the source of the image. I don't have it. If you have it, you can put it there while hosting. Now for the project content, I'm gonna call the paragraph tag. So for the paragraph tag, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna change the color to our gray font color. I'm gonna give it the margin bottom to 1 rem. There we go. And for the project tag, which is all of these things right here, what I'm gonna do is give them display flex and do flex wrap to wrap, give gap 0.5 rem. I was gonna do margin bottom to 1 rem, just like that. Oh, I meant to do a gap, not grid. So for the individual tech tag, what I'm going to do is do tech tag and set the background color to a different one. So I'm just going to do E2 E8F0, which is a grayish color. I'm just going to do color of the thing to 47569, just like that. Also gonna do padding 0.25 rem, 0.5 rem. Also gonna do border radius to 4 pixels. Also gonna do font size 0.8 rem. There we go. Looks clean. The next is project links. I'm going to do project links. I'm going to do display flex and gap 1 rem first, just like that. For the project links a anchor tag. What I'm going to do here is set the color to our signature blue and just do text decoration to none. That will get rid of the underline, right? Also gonna do font weight set to 600. Why is it scrolling down? I don't like the fact that it's scrolling down on its own. Whenever I'm saving, that is. I'm gonna do display flex, align item center. I'm also gonna do gap set to 0.25, yeah. So around 4 pixels. Okay. So while project links a hover, so we hover over it, it will change the color to this one right here. So when you do that, when you do that, it will just change the color to GitHub, just like that. And it will take you to GitHub or live demo if you have deployed the actual project somewhere, right? Now that is all for the features project. Now next we'll do is hobbies and interest. For hobbies interest, what I'm gonna do is first obviously make for hobbies interest, I'm just gonna make a section saying hobby section. Now this will be a comment. I'm gonna call the hobbies, right? Just like that. Do background color, I'm gonna set it to white, again, alternating the theme. And first I'm gonna set the hobbies grid. I'm gonna do display grid. I'm gonna do grid template columns repeat autofit min max. I'm just gonna set to 200 pixels, one fraction, just like that, and give a gap of 2 rem as usual, just like this. Under this, what I'm going to do is now actually style the individual hobby item. So double check if I have hobby item. I do. That's great. For hobby item, I'm just going to do text align center, do padding of 2 rem, scroll down. Also going to do background color to probably this one right here. Also gonna do border radius to 12 pixels and transition to all 0.3 seconds at ease. Just like that. Now for the hobby item hover. So when you hover over that card, I'm gonna transform the Y to again -5 pixels. Change the border color, not border color, background color to our signature blues. So like that. Also gonna do color to white. Now if you do that, as you can see, it basically, when you hover over it, it changes color with having the transition of ease. Looks pretty cool. And that is almost it for the card. And only thing I have to do is style the hobby item of individual content. So first is the the icons. So I'm gonna do for icons, I'm gonna do 3 rem, change the color to signature green. Now for the margin bottom, what I'm gonna do is do 1 rem. Also gonna do transition to color 0.3 seconds at ease. Now if you hover over it, the thing disappears because the background color and the color of the icons become the same. So what I'm going to do is hobby item dot hover I. So when hobby item is hovered, the I changes to color white. So if I do that, as you can see, looks clean. Now same goes for other three. I'm going to do hobby. Oops. hobby item. This thing is for h3 here. And change the h3 to, I'm just going to change the margin bottom to 0.3 rem, 0.5 rem. And that should be it. That is our hobbies and interest section. Now we'll style the get in touch, the last contact section, and after we'll style the footer section, and our CSS should be done. Never gonna give you up, guys. Okay, so yeah. Let's go ahead and style our contact section. Quickly make a comment just like that. Now for the contact section, what I'm going to do is give a different background color. Now up until now we were just alternating. Now I'll just straight up make it kind of a black. Now again, text cannot be seen. I'm just going to change the text color to white. Oops, just like that. Now, what else I can do is I can give the contact, I'm going to do contact and just do section title, and do color, I'm going to set the color to white, just like that. And for next, what I'm going to do is do contact content. So this actual content. The contact. Now for the contact, I'm just going to do display grid and do grid template columns, one fraction and one fraction. They will basically separate these ones just like that. And what I'm going to do is here do gap 4rem like that. I'm going to quickly check. Yep. And here, what I'm going to do, I'm quickly checking. Listing matches right here. That does match. That's fine. Now after that, I'm going to do is do contact info. So first I'm going to style the h3 to display flex, align item center, do gap to 1 rem, do margin bottom to 1.5 rem. Just like that. Right. And next thing, what I'm going to do is probably do contact item not contact info. I'm going to do contact item, do I here, scroll down a little bit, and here I'm going to change the font size to 1.5 rem. Also gonna change the color to that signature blue, and it's gonna change the width to 30 pixels, just like this. Now what I'm going to do here is also give the social links. I'm going to do display flex gap 1 rem, and also going to give margin top to rem. Okay. Like that. Now next thing what I can do is do social links in A and do display flex. Flex line item center. Okay, it's not working for some reason. Why is it not working? Okay, so social links should, just like that. And also gonna next is the contact item, right? For the contact item, give me a second, guys. What I can do here is do where am I? Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna check is I'm going to inside the content there should be contact info. I think yeah, okay, that's the culprit. So this right here should have been just until here. We format the document, there we go. And yeah, after that, what I'm gonna do, okay, we fixed the thing. Now we can continue styling the thing. So what I'm gonna do is to justify content center. I'm gonna do is width 50 pixels and do height 50 pixels. Okay. What I'm also doing is background color. I'm putting to this and doing color white. I'm also putting the border radius to 50% to make it a perfect circle. Also doing this text decoration to none and doing transition all 0.3 seconds. And these now let me scroll down again. Yeah, pretty cool. The next thing you can do is probably check these social links. And also do this, and this looks pretty cool. For the contact item, yeah, it looks alright. And for the main div, what I'm gonna do here is let's start the contact form. Now contact, I'm just gonna first call the div and set the background color to be something different. So 3341556, the grayish color. Just like that. And also gonna do padding to rem, and also gonna give a border radius of 12 pixels. Just like that. Now we can style the form group. I'm gonna do form group margin bottom. I'm gonna set it to 1.5 rem. So I'm gonna do form group label. I'm gonna set to display block, not flex. I'm also gonna do margin bottom 0.5 rem. Also gonna do color. I'm gonna change the color to a hash color saying E2E8F0. Now if you do that, that will be just like that. Now you have still to style the form group input and form group text area. I'm going to give width, I'm going to set it to 100%. I'm going to set the padding to 0.5 rem. I'm also going to set the border to none because no one likes border in the input and text area fields. I'm also going to do border radius to a little bit curved, 8 pixels. I'm gonna do background color. I'm gonna set to this color right here. And I'm also going to set the color to white. Now if you do that, just like that, I'm also going to set the font family to inherit. Now that will be our thing. Now few things I need to change is the placeholder. Right now the placeholder cannot be seen. I need to do form group, and I need to call input, call the placeholder. I'll do the same thing for the text area. I'm going to do form group. I'm going to call the text area. I'm going to call the placeholder of that text area just like that. I'm going to set the color to something more visible, like 9.4, A3, and B8. If you do that, it is more suited with the theme. And yeah, that should be it. The last thing I need to do is probably change something in the text area. Now for the text area, what I'm going to do is do height 120 pixel and do resize. Size I'm going to set to vertical. Yep. Now you cannot change it. You can only change the vertically, just like this. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm going to refresh. And now the contact form looks pretty good. And since this button already has the button primary class assigned to it, this will basically have the same styling as this one right here. So yeah, our contact form is done. So next and the last thing I have to style is the footer section. Let's quickly go to the footer section. Now I'm not gonna do too crazy. I'm just gonna call footer and do background color. Scroll down first. Let's do background color of 0, F1, and 7 to A. I'm also going to do color of white. I'm also going to do text line of center. And I'm also going to do padding to 2rem and 0. Yeah, that is all of our footer. It looks pretty neat. And yeah, that's our thing. But we still have few things to do. The first one is we have to make it responsive, and yeah, and we also have to make the fade in transition. I'm going to do fade in. Remember we did the fade in transition? Yeah, I'm going to do transform vertical and do translate at double Y and do 30 pixels. Just like that. I'm also going to give a transition of all. I set the opacity to 0. I'm going to change that. Don't worry. This is for the thing, okay? I'm going to do ease, just like that. And do fade in dot visible. And do opacity to 1. And transform, I'm going to change the translate to 0. Now, this is something that we'll be changing through JS. Okay, if you're thinking why did you do opacity 0, it just deletes everything. And you're right, it does delete, but we'll use JavaScript to fix it. So yeah, for now just assume the opacity is 0. We'll change it from that. Okay, don't worry. That's why we have this fade in dot visible. We'll use the class list and add dot visible here, and yeah, it will basically be visible with the transition. And with that, at the last, for now, I'm just gonna set the opacity to. I'm just gonna comment out so you guys can actually see everything. And now we'll just do media queries. So media queries it is. So what I'm gonna do is do that. Set the max width. I'm just gonna style. We'll just style the mobile like that, and just do .nav links. I mean, this is not for mobiles. Most likely for like around like small screens, I guess. Small screens territory. I don't think it's mobile. Mobile is like 468 or 640p. For nav links, that'll be for hero content. I'm just gonna do grid template columns 1 fraction. Text line, I'm gonna set center, just like that. Yep. Now this is still questionable, but yeah, we'll fix it. This is how it will look in smaller screens. Now next is, another thing you can do is also make a hamburger menu for these, but I'm not gonna do it. So next is hero text. What I'm gonna do is hero text type 1. I'm just gonna do font size 2.5 rem, just like that. And well, now for the about content, and do grid template columns to 1 fraction, just like that. And that will basically fix everything. That's why I love grid. Next is stats. What I'm going to do is do grid template columns 1 fraction. That will immediately fix everything just like that. And I'm going to do the same for content. I'm going to call that and just do grid template column 1 fraction, and that'll fix the contact form. And alas, the CTA buttons. For the CTA buttons, I'm just going to do flex direction set to column. And yeah, just like that, it should work. Right now it's gonna get immediately just like it'll just immediately teleport you to that screen. The reason I did this is basically we'll basically be making a scroll down thing. Right now, for now, I'm just gonna set everything opacity to 0, and come back here. Gonna do that, and let's start to write our JavaScript for this portfolio. The first thing what I'm going to do is call document.querySelectorAll. I'm going to call the ankle tag and do that. I'm going to do href inside this. And do that, and also do that. I'm going to call the href just like that. I'm going to loop it for each stat. I'm going to do anchor. So this will basically, basically loop all of the anchor. Basically do anchor dot add event listener. If it is clicked, I'm going to obviously make a function. So this will basically be e dot prevent default first to, making the whole page, going like loading the whole page, and do const target dot document. Document dot query selector. Do this dot get attribute. I'm just gonna get the href attribute of that element. I'm gonna do if the target exists. So that's if the target variable exists. We'll just do target dot scroll into view. So this will basically scroll the target. So this will basically, if you click home, it'll scroll down to there instead of just instead of just making it an instant teleport. And do smooth and do block. Do start, not semicolon, oops, my bad, it's comma. And yeah, that is our first function. It's not a function, it's just a event. You're basically putting that into all of these, and yeah. With that said, I think it should be done. So next, what I can do is do window dot add event listener. Now for the scroll, do function. I'm gonna when the user scrolls in the, I'm gonna do navbar do navbar equals to document dot what is but document dot get element. Oh my god. Get element by ID. We'll basically take our navbar just like this. Do if window dot scroll y. So scroll y is greater than 50. What I'm going to do is do navbar dot class list dot add scrolled. If we do that, what I'm going to do is just that and do navbar dot class list dot remove scrolled. Just scrolled. Now that is another event listener. Now what I'm going to do here is basically make a observer option. So I'm just going to do observer options, and here I'm going to do threshold. I'm going to make a variable called threshold. There will be an object. We'll do that, and also have a root another attribute called root margin of 0 pixels, and negative 50 pixels, and 0 pixels. What I'm going to do is do that. Now const observer equals to new interaction observer. That will trigger a function. I also give a entries on all of that. I'm going to do entries dot for each entry. What I'm gonna do is basically if I'm going to check if entry is intersecting. If it is, then do entry. Let's scroll down. You guys cannot see. I'm going to do entry dot target dot class list dot add visible. Just like that. And now I'm just gonna set the thing to observer options. What I'm gonna do here is check for any errors. So instruct room specifying pixel percentage root margin. Oh, okay, so that's gone. And another thing, okay, so there we go. Now if we do that, I think it should be fine. So another thing that I need to probably do is do that, and yeah, that should be fine. So yeah. So next is actually making all the observe for fade in transitions. What I'm going to do is after that I'm going to call document dot query selector all. So all of the queries that has dot fade in class, I'm going to loop them using that and give el as a variable, and I'll do observer dot observe el. Now if we do that, as you can see, if I scroll down, as you can see, it will start appearing just like that. It gives a nice transition. Now next is form submission. For the form submission, what I'm going to do is do document dot query selector and first call the form and do add event listener, submit, and do function. I will listen to the submit. So if somebody submits a form, first I'm going to do e dot prevent default. I'm going to do const form data. I'm going to make a variable called form data new form data this. So I'm going to do that and do const name equals form data dot get name, do const email equals to form data dot get email, do const. I'm basically getting all of the form data just like that. Form data dot get subject, do const message form data dot get message. Now if you do that, then yeah, that should be fine. That's all of the variables that we have made. Now what I'm going to do is do if. I'm going to check if when any of those does not exist, right? Because all of them is obviously mandatory, but let's say if thing does not submit, what I'm going to do is do alert the user saying please fill in all the fields, just like that. And after that, I'm just going to return from this function. And I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to say alert, thank you for your message. I'm going to do I will. I want to add an apostrophe just like that. Get back to you. Oops, I cannot type. To you soon. There we go. This basically lets you to add apostrophes inside a single quote string. Now to basically not do this, you can also use double quote strings, but I already used it, so I needed to do that. So after that, I'm just gonna do this dot reset, just like that. And after that is what we'll be building is the typewriter. What I'm going to do is do that. Now, what I'm going to make is the typewriter effect. So the letters will basically just type itself, you know? What I'm going to do is do typewriter. I'm going to call this function a typewriter, and it will have the element text speed. I'm going to set the default parameter to 100 and do let I equals to 0. I'm going to do element dot inner HTML equals to, first I'm going to set the element, so it will give this element. So initially it will set to an empty string. I'm going to do function. Now this will type, this function will type. This is a nested function. Now what I'm going to do is do that and check if I is less than the text dot length. Now this will basically run up to this text dot length. So this will be element dot inner HTML. This will fill up the text dot char at I, just like that. And here what I'm going to do is increase the value of I. Also do set timeout to type and speed, just like this. And after that, I'm going to call the type function right over here. Now this is a function we haven't called it. To call it, I have to do window dot, basically I'm going to add a event listener on load. So this will basically be, this function will trigger when load. I'm just going to do const, I'm going to make a variable called const hero title equals to document dot, not this document, I'm going to cut this, document dot query selector, do hero text h1, and do that. Also do hero title, and do const original text equals to hero title dot text content, just like that. Do set timeout. I'm going to do set timeout and call a function typewriter hero title, do original text, since the original text is the hero title. All right, and also gonna do set these to 150, and this will have a delay of 1 second, just like that. As you can see, this typed out right over there, as you can see. Yep, it looks cool. Now next is another for the scroll. What I'm going to do here is basically add a parallax effect to the hero section. Now what I'm going to do is do window dot add event listener. We'll listen to scroll. When we go to function, just like that. And now I'm first gonna basically select the scroll. So I'm gonna do window dot page y offset, and gonna do const hero equals to document dot query selector, and do dot hero, and also gonna do const read equals to scrolled times minus 0.5. That is the rate. And if hero exists, I'm gonna do hero dot style dot transform. I'm going to do transform equals to, I'm going to set the translate to something like the rate at, just like that. And yeah, it looks cool. Now next what I'm going to do is add a hover effect to the project cards. What I'm going to do is do document dot query selector all, do project card, do for each. I'm just going to do card, and do card dot add event listener, and I'm going to listen to mouse enter. Right, I'm going to listen to mouse enter and just do function. And after that, this will be this dot style dot transform equals to, we change it to translate y and negative 10 pixels and scale to 1.20. That is our transform. Let's do mouse leave. I'm just going to copy this. For mouse leave, first I'm going to do leave. So you have hover. Same about project cards. If I do project card, which is this right here, right? This right here, which has all of these things. What we'll do is basically do that and set these to 0 pixels and also scale back to 1. So for project cards, I'll basically scale that. Then if I go back to projects and just, see that, as you can see, it scales up. That, as you can see, it scales up. That is what this thing does. The next is for the button. So for that, what I'm going to do is probably leave it as that. I don't think I need to do anything for the buttons. And yeah, that is it for our portfolio. I hope you liked it. I think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, this is the portfolio. I think in my opinion, it looks pretty good. It's perfectly, okay. The only thing that is missing is the hamburger menu, but until that, it's perfectly responsive and also has all the projects showcased and also has all of the things that is necessary. And yeah. Yeah, that's it. If you liked the actual project video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in another stream or another video with another project or another tutorial. Up until then, goodbye.